see what they did for the veterans, just to see how they pushed them in a wheelchair, just to see how they fed them, just to see how they entertained them, just to see how they showed them Washington, D.C. Now, I'm going to tell you something that Julie, please forgive me for this, what I'm about to say.
She's over there.
Julie's up there somewhere.
She's over there,
Okay.
at the door.
Oh, right there, right there. You gotta kind of forgive me for a whole bunch of things, but I gotta tell you something. Paul Granger made me go on this trip. It's all his fault. I don't know, where's Paul at?
He's right here.
Back there? I said I wasn't gonna go because I had some fears. I'm gonna tell you one of my fears. And since maybe you haven't had breakfast yet or you're not having lunch yet, it'll be okay to tell you this story. So, I obviously got some medical problems, and those medical problems have created many other problems. Let's see, how can I say this? In using the restroom, that situation has gotten a little bit more needed. So my fear was the flight to Washington, D.C. is 5 hours. 5 hours, and those airplanes have, what, 3 bathrooms? Maybe one up front and 2 in the back, or the other way around. And these guys and these girls are my age or older. I'm thinking that's really going to be a problem. So, I found out through, what's these stores? CVS and Target and those places. They had something that might be good for me. It's just a little white thing. I think officially it's called Depends. And you know, years ago I would have been embarrassed to tell this story. I'm still embarrassed, but it's okay. You guys, I love you guys, and you guys will understand. So I'm thinking, maybe to make my butt bigger. But maybe nobody will notice. So I didn't tell anybody. And we got about halfway through the flight, maybe 2 hours to go. Well, I gotta tell you this part. Kathy, Julie, this wasn't your plan. 5 hours to fly to Washington, D.C. This airplane was held for 4 hours before that. I got a 9-hour flight to Washington, D.C. Oh my God. Luckily, the guy sitting next to me pretty much took up my seat too. He was going to the bathroom a lot, and I think it'd be fair to say, he had a gas problem. So that was going to take me off the list a little bit. I could blame it on him. So I'm going, we got 2 hours left. I figure the line's only maybe 42 people. Okay, so I finally get in there. I'm 6'2". Those bathrooms are made for 5'8", I think. So the first thing I did was hit my head. I've rarely used the bathroom, but I did. Okay, so I got these tight blue jeans on. I got my cowboy boots on. Not only are they 5'8", they're maybe 3'2", maybe this way. I gotta sit down on this toilet. I gotta take these tight jeans off, and I gotta take these cowboy boots off, and there's 42 people waiting outside. So what am I gonna do? If and when I get this white thing off, I can't flush it down the toilet. outside with all those 42 people looking at me. That's the truth. So what did I do? I left it on. No way. I mean, it was it was a little bit too embarrassing. You know, Honor Flight San Diego, I've had a lot to do with. I've been blessed to been put together with all those people. And they are the best. And I highly recommend that you think about taking that trip. You as a veteran doesn't cost you anything. And they treat you like kings and queens. And I mean that. I mean, look at Julie over here. Look how sweet she looks. She's just like that in a real person. And it's wonderful. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit of a sad story. This is a true story. We did so many things. I mean, so many things were packed in. So much stuff, so much wonderful stuff. We finally made it to the Vietnam Memorial. I was fortunate and blessed to have two guys that I was in Vietnam with 56 years ago with me. Manny and Bobby, can you stand up? You're back there someplace. There you go, guys. Pat was with us 56 years ago. So, and this necklace that we all have, was made by a guy in Washington, D.C. for us. Pretty darn cool. This bracelet, Carlos made, and it pretty much made us stand out when we were with the homeless in Washington, D.C. Okay, so we're at the Vietnam Memorial. Any of you seen the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C.? Powerful. In fact, Pat and Manny and Bobby, the guy that started that wall, I forgot his name. Yeah. Jan Scruggs. Jan Scruggs was in our infantry unit in Vietnam. So a lot of this wall out here has some similarities, but we have more on this wall than they do. And we charge a whole lot. But it's wonderful. So we got to the Vietnam Memorial. First thing I wanted to do, Bobby and Manny wanted to do, is look for our guys. For our guys' names on the wall. I found Bill DeBates, who was a dear friend of mine that I lost over there. So we scraped his name off the wall. It was very emotional. And as I got done with that, Mel and Dee came over and said, from the Honor Flight, said, Dan, can we fold a flag up for you and unfold a flag and give the flag to you to put in Bill's name? They did that. And there was a huge crowd around us. Ladies and gentlemen, I lost it. I really lost it. And I walked away, and everybody from Jan to many others from the Honor Flight gave me hugs. I remember Bobby coming up to me and hugging me, and I said, look, I just need some time by myself. So I walked up to the top of the hill. I said, so why am I doing this? After 56 years, why am I doing this? And the very first thing, maybe some of you have felt this, I felt guilty. I've been able to live 56 years. Bill couldn't even have a wife or grandchildren or a job or whatever, so I was feeling real guilty about that. It kind of gave me a little bit of closure, especially something that Paul told me the other day. I felt I was able to tuck him in. and really officially say goodbye. 78,000 men and women on that wall who never got to live their lives, and I was on the same ground as they were on. Am I lucky or not? I am lucky, and I am blessed, and I'm fortunate, and those guys aren't. The honor flight gave me that opportunity, and I'm kind of walking with a little bit of closure right now that I didn't have before. Thank you, honor flight. Thank you, honor flight. So I promised I wouldn't keep you here all day, but I need to let you know how important this wall is. For 15 years, Debbie Jackson, is that right? 15 years? 13? I've been standing up here telling each and every one of you veterans, those of you on our wall, those of you going on our wall, I choose to call each and every one of you a hero. A hero. People have different definitions about hero. Some people think you need to pass away. Some people think other kinds of things. But I've been searching for a lot of definitions about hero. You guys are getting lucky because my voice is going away. So I'm almost done. You know, all of us have lines in the sand. And some of us are a little fear of crossing that line. Because of obstacles, because of all sorts of things. But I think a hero, I know this for absolutely certain. Pardon? How are you? I know for absolute certain those three guys in the back that I spent a year with sleeping on the ground, I know for certain they took that first step forward. That first step forward for courage. That first step forward to get on a helicopter. That first step forward to go to the draft board and sign up to go in the military. That first step forward to sign up to go to the Air Force, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marines, whatever it was. They took that first step forward. They took that first step forward to sleep on the muddy ground with the rats. They took that first step forward to go out on a patrol with a bunch of brand new guys that were absolutely scared to death. They took that first step forward for a lot to do with the United States of America. That's why you're my hero, and many other reasons. That's why we want to make sure, whatever we do, the men and women on that wall that are no longer with us, make sure we go out and touch their tiles. Make sure we do never, ever, ever forget about them. And we always try to remember them, because they deserve to be remembered. You know, our country may not be the best we want it to be right now. And I promised I wouldn't get into politics, so I won't do that. But America is what I certainly love. You know, there's a gentleman in the back. I just saw his face again. When I was on an airplane coming back from Washington, D.C., he was there as a guardian for another friend of his who was a pilot. I don't remember where you said you were from, but someplace way up north. He's here today because he said he would be. Raise your hand, please. We've got two people up here that came all the way from Texas, drove all the way from Texas Bill Ridenauer's daughter, Karen and Wayne,